Oh, good morning. It is Sunday and it is just gone 7 o'clock here. Totally unscheduled, totally no guests today. So it's just going to be me freeballing. I didn't post this, I didn't schedule it. So just thought I'd come on, ramble for a bit, get used to being on my own talking. Like I said, it is just gone 7 o'clock. So I'm not expecting anyone to be around because I haven't scheduled it either. But come on, talk about the last few weeks that we've had on the show. Talk about a bit of homeschooling stuff, if anyone's interested in that. And then what we've got coming ahead with the show. So over the last few weeks, well, since the start of the show, really, had a mixture of people on. The aim of the show always was and always will be to promote the affiliates, promote people around the affiliates, so the third parties that link into them. We've had brands on like Rising Tides, Rebecca Birch from the UK, who's a licensee for Europe, so she resells a lot of the goods and kit from the US that she saw a kind of a hole in the market for over here. And let me tell you, after ordering some stuff from her, the delivery is exceptional. The time frame is amazing, and the goods are just as good. So head on over to Rising Tides as soon as you can if you're in Europe. Grab some kit. We've had a couple of events community events. Steve from Defiant, who was actually the sponsor of Kill Taylor yesterday. So that was cool. It was nice to see Steve on there in the chat as well. Steve, with Defiant, they've got so many branches to their company. They've obviously got the kit company. And if you didn't use the code Savon yesterday, you can get, I think it was either 10 or even might have been even more % off. So use the code Savon for discount there. It's defiantco.co.uk. And you get a free pair of socks as well. Delivery rates are very, very good, especially if you're in Europe as well. We've got, who do we have? Oh, and they've also got a print service. So if you're an affiliate, especially in Europe, if you're an affiliate and you're after some kit, back in the day, like early days, what are we talking now? 2012-ish till about probably 2015, probably within those years. There seemed to be a lot of print houses that were specifically within the CrossFit world. One that was massive when around that time in the UK was Razor Storm, and it was a case of you'd send in, you'd brief the people, at Razor Storm, and they would get your kit, the t-shirts. It was all the rage, all the kind of your tri-blend t-shirts. So the kit would be ordered. People would wear your kit and be proud. And somewhere along the way, I think those companies, especially within the UK that I'm aware of, kind of faded away. So we didn't really get that kit produced. Now, what Steve does with Defiant print services is just that. And if you head over to their Instagram account, they've got a very, very good portfolio building up already. So if you are a box affiliate, even unaffiliated in Europe, head on over to Defiant Printing and have a look at there. They've also got Defiant Games, which is an event they run. There's no rig, there's no heavy lifting that I know of, but it's a great event. The visuals that come out of it are superb, and Steve definitely knows how to compare or MC at those events. And then, so that was Steve, Defiant. We've got someone coming on, a guy called Philip. He's a Dutch guy, and he's from a company called Baby Gains, and that is on the 15th, so a couple of weeks' time. Philip, from what I know, obviously I'm going to hopefully find out a lot more about the company and himself and his family. Baby Gains is a company that makes kit for babies and toddlers and kids to use. How accurate they look are remarkable, and they've got sleds, they've got barbells, it's amazing. So I'm really looking forward to having Philip on to discuss sort of what led him to do it, really. We used to have a little barbell with some like plastic plates on for the kids when they were a bit younger, but the kit that we're looking at with Baby Gains is it's a cut above. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's a couple of weeks' time. We've got a couple of ladies on from Coaches Ed. Coaches Ed is a very, very in-depth, in-person course looking at the education of coaches. Funny enough, UK based, well, London based, but Jess and Julia will be coming on Wednesday, actually. So today's Sunday. They'll be coming on Wednesday, and they'll be discussing Coaches Ed, the origins of it, why it came about, and how I got in contact and came to see about Coaches Ed was Nick Darby, who was on a couple of weeks ago. He is actually part of. Let me just pull it up. I've got to get used to there. Let me just pull that up. Here we go. So, Coaches Ed. Like I said, Julia and Jess were coming on the show to talk about all this, so I don't want to kind of steal their thunder. But very, very professionally well done. It's an immersive, in-person education piece. And so they went to Louvre in Paris, which is Daniel Chafee's gym, one of his gyms. So when you get to host at a gym as insanely productive and already very well coached, you know you're onto a good thing. So I'm really looking forward to getting the ladies on from Coaches Ed. So that's cool. So that's next Wednesday coming. But before that, I have got Mac. And I'm looking forward to having him on again so I can play Return of the Mac, one of my favourite songs, all the way back from 1996. Mac is, let me pull it up, he's actually an American living in Germany. Let me get his up. Here he is. So, Mac is the European manager for GoRuck. So, GoRuck, anyone that's sort of had eyes on the games, CrossFit games, the last few years, obviously will know who GoRuck are and what they do. News clues sort of in the title. Rucks. They obviously ruck bags. They obviously offer a lot more than just rucks. However, Mac, I'm really looking forward to speaking to Mac. He's got a wealth of experience. He's a really, really experienced guy within the CrossFit world. Also, the crossover with Ruck Race League is something I'm looking to establish, because I did the first workout Kronos of Ruck Race League on what day was it? Tuesday, Wednesday. So Ruck Race League, if you don't know it, we had Bill Anthony's on a couple of weeks ago. Ruck Race League set up by Bill and Katie and his wife. Both very, very long-term experienced CrossFitters. Bill was an L1 staff member, a red shirt, served in the military, and over the years formulated different plans and different kind of training ideas. And out of all of that, we find ourselves now with Ruck Race League, a monthly workout that you can try as many times as you like. You submit a score, and each of the workouts is going to be very different from one another, but it does involve a ruck. Now, the first workout was very eye-opening to me. I've rucked. I've done this, that, and the other with rucks. I've climbed up sort of semi-mountains with my kids strapped to my back, weighing about 15 kilos, but it's a little bit different. I had no bearing or no idea about how it would feel. It was a 1 hour, so 60-minute max distance ruck at 20% body weight. So for me, it was about 20 kilos, so I rounded up to 21, and that was tough. Especially, I'd already seen some of the distances been put in, and genuinely, I'm in awe of what some of those guys are doing at the top. 14 kilometers in an hour is good running pace, let alone with 20% body weight. So hats off to them. I just got over 6K. Now I was walking. I didn't strut or jog, or I can't remember the name. There's a name for it. Scoot, I think, is the name. So you can tell I'm not military, can't you? But yeah, I didn't try any of that. The only non-walk, my heart rate didn't go above 125 the whole time for the hour. The only non-walk I did was right at the end for about the last minute, when I realised I wasn't quite going to get 6K, and I got angry, so I just sort of ran the last minute or so and got past 6K. But yeah, looking at the scores and the distances, it's insane. So fair play to the guys, and it is such an awesome. It's really strange how one workout like that you've never done can really make an impact. And it did remind me of how it felt. We talk about this all the time in education with coaches and coaches programs and refreshers. And I guess the value of doing level 1 and 2 again, if you need to update them and do them again, is a reminder of how it feels to do something new. And as a coach, we've always talked about this. It's really important to try new things, do things that you're a complete novice at, to remind yourself exactly how it feels. To be brand new, to have no experience as something complete novice. You can bring that back to your coaching and remind yourself what it's like to not know what CrossFit's about, to not know what a toaster bar is, to not know progressions for a pull-up, to not know what a snatch is, let alone what it should feel like. Back to grassroots. So learning something brand new like that was really important. And also off the back of that, so workout 2 has just been released. It's called Atlas, and it is 1 mile max load. So a mile max load ruck. And again, I have got no idea on what that will look like. I've got no idea of how far that will be. How heavy that will be. So Bill put out a video yesterday just talking about trying it, building up gradually. Don't be a donut, basically, and treat it like a workout that you're going to kind of cycle up towards your max effort towards the end of the month. So it makes sense. Now, another good thing that's come out of this is the gym that I'm at. Dan, the owner, who did serve in the military, he's got a lot of experience there. He's really keen on doing this, and we're going to put something together for the gym as a community piece to do it all as a group, and to go out and do that. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's such a cool aspect of all of this. It's going to be an event each month for the gym. So this kind of tool that we have is another one for gyms to use to bond the community and to get them going again. And something that I spoke about with Reese last week, and blimey, a lot of people. I spoke to Magnus in Tromsø about this as well, and Daniel Chafee a couple of weeks ago about the apparent disconnect between competition and the community. And I speak from my own experience here. Over the years, I think the level of competition, quite rightly, needs to, has developed, that tip of the spear has got so sharp that a lot of the community have become so far from what they can do at the tip of the spear that they assume that all competition is at that level. And because they can't do it at that level, they're just going to switch off and disengage completely from competition themselves. It would appear that way. Obviously, this is generally not everyone. Compare that to 10 years ago. The majority of your gym, if you're a CrossFit gym, wouldn't blink at the opportunity to do a throwdown at the gym. You'd organise for a throwdown, and if you had 100 members, 98 of them would be there on the day. 75 of those people would be competing. The others would be volunteering to help out, to do judging, to run logistics, to just support. It would be part of the gym. The part of the community aspect would be the community competitive side. It was just part and parcel of what we did. And it wasn't ring muscle ups. It wasn't handstand walking. It wasn't pistols. It wasn't, 1K row for time necessarily. It was a lower threshold of competition, but nonetheless, it was competition. It was a competitive spirit. It was lanes. It was community based, however, and it was that ethos of I can do this. It was within grasp, and it was aspirational for a lot of the community. Now, through no fault of anyone, this isn't a finger pointing exercise or a witch hunt, but because the level of that elite CrossFit has just gone well beyond what your normal community member can do. I think it just snapped the tether between competition and community base for CrossFit specific stuff. And over the last sort of 5 years or so, you've seen open numbers go down. You've seen competitions around the world reduced in athlete numbers. You've seen the stands around a lot of especially the US ones that we were exposed to and were talked about in the media. The spectatorship levels are down. And I think park that to the side for now. Then you've got a High Rocks thing. This new thing comes around, and you see these participation numbers just absolutely skyrocket. The ones in I can talk from looking at the numbers and actually trying to help people buy tickets. They sell out in less than an hour. You've got 20,000 people buying tickets for about £110. I should be able to do that maths. You're grossing over 2 million in just ticket sales for one weekend. And there's pretty much an event on every weekend. So when you look at the numbers from a business perspective, that's well over 110 million purely on ticket sales as a High Rocks company. Now, we're not talking about them. We're talking about the people doing the event. The reason that it has become very popular is because anyone can do it. It's perfectly scaled. People can go through it. There's no time cap. It's more accessible. It's new. It's exciting. But what it's doing is capturing a lot of those people that wanted at some point were doing competition in CrossFit, but somewhere along the way, it kind of just got a little bit too far out of reach for them at the tip of the spear. Now, all the competitions like Gym Sync that's come around in the UK that we had on Nick with, what they are offering is a breakaway from traditional CrossFit competition. And I think that's where their appeal is. It's because it's not directly comparable to what the elite CrossFitters are doing. It's a part of what they're doing. You've got in the UK, you've got Athletics Games, you've obviously got High Rocks, You've still got the companies, especially in the UK, like I keep saying, Battle for Middle Ground, Rainhill Trials. That there's these companies that have been going for well over 10 years doing events, and they run them so damn well. Now, the reason that they do so well is because not only are their systems excellent, they've got the experience, they cater, and the clues in the title for Battle for Middle Ground. Richard Hornsey, who set it up, he realised very early on that the middle ground is sort of where most people get to with their CrossFit development over a period of time, with their abilities and their capacities and their strength levels and their gymnastic abilities. If you cater for those people, you get the numbers. If you focus on the elite level, you just won't, statistically as well, you won't get the numbers in. And also the community, you have to think about where the spectators are coming from, where the money's coming from, where all the vendor village is being filled with. The way forward from all of this, how I see it, and this could help with a lot of the gaps, the development areas that we find ourselves with CrossFit, is re-establishing that tether between the sport and the community. And people keep focusing on what the athletes can do to do that. And I talked about this with Daniel as well. I think it comes down to the affiliate owners to potentially regroup, gather up, and think about how we can. I say we here. I'm not an affiliate owner anymore. But how we, especially in the media space, can highlight and look at the community, but also adding in that competitive spirit again, saying it's okay if your threshold for competition is you can't do muscle ups, you're barely at chest to bar, you can't snatch 80 kilos as a male. Bring back that competitive spirit in the gyms, bring back that throwdown experience, bring that back to the community. It seems to have been completely taken away, rightly or wrongly. I think it definitely still has a place for CrossFit. We've got, if you start to think about what we have with CrossFit at the affiliates, there seems to have been this push away and divide between, you get the 5 to 10 elite people that are doing the sport, and then you get the community that have no interest in doing it. They're not signing up for the open because they don't want to do it, because they don't see it, the value in it. I think our job, our job potentially will be to re-establish that connection between the two things, because they are one in the same. Now, I've spent the best part of the last 2 years talking about, we need to talk about the community. We need to focus on the affiliates. We need to highlight the base of the pyramid. That's the whole point in this bloody show, is talking about the base, talking about the community, nutrition, Metcon, all the way up, talking about the methodology, not the sport as the primary objective of what we do. However, that is with the caveat of bearing in mind the sport is important. It's part of what we do. The competitive side of CrossFit still needs to be nurtured and taken care of, because what you've seen now is people like World Fitness Project breaking away and doing their own thing, which is absolutely fine, fair play. They're making a run for it and they're doing what they do. Cool. They make it work. It can only be a good thing if they can make it work, run in parallel with what we do at our affiliates and what we do with our methodology. As long as it's compatible, I'm all in favor of it. However, what it is doing is helping to establish what the elite do better than everyone, which is cool. But we have an obligation, like I've just said, to ensure that our community aren't told you can't do this thing. We need a version of competitive spirit and nature at the affiliates again. That's what I see as a glaringly obvious win for community leaders, i.e. affiliate owners and managers, we've got so many tools at our disposal to be able to do that. At this point, we've got near on 20 years of experience of running local throwdowns, of inviting the box down the road for a throwdown, getting people involved, making them understand the value of the timer, why we do things for time. And I feel like there's a slight bounce back at the moment with that, with the introduction of the events like the Hyroxes. It's still there. The reason people love CrossFit and not just going to your Globo gyms is because there's a timer, because there's a community, because of the coaching, because they're held accountable. Now, for me, I've done 13 opens now. The reason I do the open every single year, whether I've had neck surgery, whether I've just had bad knees, whether I'm knackered, whether it's whatever it is, I've got all the excuses under the sun to have done it, but I've got a streak of 13 now. And the reason I do it every year is to be connected to that community, but also to hold myself to account. If I haven't prepped well, if I feel like a big lump of shit going into the open, guess what? That's my fault. I'm not going to be able to use that as an excuse to not do it. Just because I haven't prepared properly doesn't mean I get to step away from it. You've got to do it, boy. And you don't get to just not do something because you didn't prepare for it very well. And for me, the open as a CrossFitter is just that. It's the tool to remind myself and to fucking humble me every year with most of the workouts. Until the 1RM bench comes up, I'm pretty much screwed. I'm not going to be in the 10%, the top 10%. However, I absolutely adore the open for what it is. And it's one of the starting tools that we have at our disposal that is really easy, really simple to do. And all you have to look at is someone like Jamie at Method. His affiliate is insane. Talked about this with Steve a little while ago. He did his affiliate series, and the first one was at Method, up in the north of England, and they had this world's second highest open sign up. But guess what? What Jamie doesn't prioritize and he doesn't have is the elite sport going on at his gym. Now, the facility they have is insane. The business management they have is insane. The community they have is insane. And there's a reason that there's that engagement. They don't have that elite sport at the gym, but they do have competition. There's a big difference between the two of those. You can have competition, you can have competitive spirit, you can have timers, you can have throwdowns without it being an elite sport. You can have that. That's what we need to focus on as affiliates, I think. It's my personal opinion. Now, I'm very open to discussion and debate on that. But how are we now? 13 years of experience in CrossFit would bring me to believe that discussions with affiliate owners, discussions with regional managers, discussions with businesses that own spaces within the CrossFit world, it would lead me to believe that it is one development area that we can all play a part in. And it seems like it's this bond, this cohesion that we can have that we don't currently, we're missing out on, that could solve a few of our problems. So that's one thing that I want to talk about. Now, I've been given a really big opportunity this weekend next weekend. So this time next week. Off the back of speaking to Daniel a couple of weeks ago on Easter Sunday, actually, I'm heading over to the French Throwdown now for a couple of reasons. I'm really looking forward to it, but I'm away for 3 nights, which is the longest I'd been away from my kids for ever, my 7 and 6 year old. So that's going to be a new experience for me, but it's going to be the first time that I have been to an event of this size and this caliber. So I'll be walking around, and I've bought myself I'm getting well professional now. I bought myself a stabilizer. I didn't even know what they were called. I was searching for like half an hour on all your bits and bobs on the Amazon and Google, and bought a stabilizer for walking around, for making media, and for doing that. So I'm setting that up now. I'd appreciate any assistance on that. If anyone else is heading over to the French Throwdown and they want to kind of link up and have a coffee and chat about CrossFit, please let me know. I do have a couple of meetups planned over there, which I'm really, really looking forward to. One of which is Erg Shoot. I don't know if you've seen this. They're going to be hosting a one of the workouts over at the French involves Erg Shoot, which is late in real basic terms, a laser gun involved in one of the workouts. So I'm really looking forward to that. Where I live in the Isle of Man, you can hold a gun, you can get a license, and you can kind of hold. I haven't done it. There's loads of shooting ranges you can go to. So I'm hoping this might be a little bit of an entry into that world for me, because I see all the fun people have with them, with shooting over in the US. A lot of my friends do it. So I'm really looking forward to that. Might give me a bit of a kick out the bum to go and actually get one. But yeah, the French will be very entertaining. I've always wanted to go. I've had athletes and friends that have gone and competed, but I've never actually been to Montpellier this time around. Let me pull it up, shall we? No, I mean, if the individual event one looks atrocious already, I'm pretty sure that's like a double acid bath, pretty much. So this is one thing that I'm really going to try and focus on, is the supporters. Daniel was consistent the other week. One of the big reasons he does this is to see the guys who meet up with the volunteers. Hello, Rambler. Yes, I am live. Welcome. It is 8 here, and I've got 10 minutes left, so I'm just kind of rattling through what I can. But yeah, the French Throwdown next weekend. Now I'm trying to find. Here we go. So, Erg Shoot. So you got a gauntlet, just like Wodipalooza have the gauntlet. So you can have a gauntlet style option, which is going to be real cool. Love the look of these things. Let's have a look at Erg Shoot. I think it's pretty cool. Now, none of them are using two hands. I'm assuming part of the standard to use. Oh, no, she's resetting it. Oh, no, there you go. Yeah. So you got people using it with one hand and two hands. I wonder if it's because there's no kickback. We'll find out. To be continued, I guess. It is 7:50 a.m. Yeah. Yeah, it is gangster style. I think probably because there's no kickback and there's no weight to it. But I'm looking forward to finding all that out, because I'll be visiting the stand and having a go at that. But yeah, French Throwdown looks awesome. There's so much going on. There's workshops. So what I was going to talk about was the. Oh yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, that lad. Was that the older guy that just looked like a? Was it? There was a guy. I'm pretty sure he's Sicilian though. He might have been Turkish actually. He just fucking stood up, just pop, and then he just walked back. It was a pretty cool guy. Looked like it just walked out of a film. But this is the kind of thing that I'll be interested in. I'm going to be walking around, having a look at the workshops available, vendor village, the community aspect of it, and that's where I'm looking. He did, didn't he? It's going to be for me. Obviously, I'll be interested in seeing what the athletes are doing. That's a given. I'm going to the French Throwdown. That's a given. But one thing that I'm really, really interested and keen on is understanding why people go to spectate, why the community are there. Do they have people there that they're there to watch? Are they just fans of the sport? One thing that I'm really keen on doing is just that. I want to interview people from the community and ask them these kind of questions, who they're here to see. For me, this picture, and again, in no way am I putting down what the athletes do. In no way. Both can be correct at the same time. But what makes this picture so brilliant, I guess, there's no other word, is these people and these people in the stands cheering and going around. Yes, what this guy has just done is admirable. I get that. That's why the French Throwdown exists. But I'm more interested in understanding the community there, the vendor village, the brands that are there, all the ecosystem that goes around the athletes. That's where my passion lies. You've already got media covering the elite. You've already got them with cameras following them around and interviewing them. One thing that I feel gets missed out on is the other 50,000 people walking around at the competitions. So that's what I'm interested in. I want to speak to the affiliate managers that are there. I want to speak to the affiliate owners that are there. I just want to understand and look at the competitive side of it and get a slant from a different take on it, and all the while enjoying the competitive nature of it. That's why, and that's what I'm hoping to do at the French. So if anyone watching this is going to be there, let me know. I'd like to grab a coffee and just have a chat as well. Be cool. Because I don't really speak much French, I'm afraid to admit. I know a couple of words, but we did learn it at school. But yeah, I went to German at age 13, I think. So anyway, that's enough. What else? Yeah, from my point of view, from my perspective, I've done quite a lot of coaching this week. Had some client successes. Don't really talk about that much because it's not part of the show. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely right. So atmosphere spectating at things like Rainhill Charles Meager, it has, and it will continue to be that way. I personally haven't been to Rainhill. I've got an athlete that I coach who is going in this month. Actually, I think it's the end of the month. I think is their spring one. But I haven't been to Rainhill since it was at Manchester in the arena next to the the Etihad, and it was a team of 4. Well, I think it was about 2018, 2019 in person. But yeah, I've coached. But yeah, Rainhill have nailed it. Their ballot system, their seeding workouts, how they do it. It's successful for a reason. But yeah, Josh, I'm in the Isle of Man, which is in the middle of the Irish Sea. So to get to Montpellier, where it is, well, near the airport, is from Gatwick. So I've got to fly to Gatwick, stay overnight in the hotel at Gatwick, and then go from Gatwick to Montpellier there for 2 nights, and then I'm coming back Sunday. It is a bit of a trek, but I think it'll be worth it for me to go, and I'm really looking forward to meeting a lot of community bases from around Europe as well. I do speak to a lot of British people day to day, obviously, so I'm kind of looking forward to a break from that, to be honest. But yeah, it's going to be awesome, and but yeah, what else have we got to talk about? Nearly done now. I'm hoping so. You guys, if you can speak to Rosemary to Whiteman, I feel like I should know what you mean. Don't know. Stefan has done this for 4 years now, longer, and he's at the point where he can invite people on that aren't necessarily to do with CrossFit. Ramsey, yeah, you could swim to Ramsey Bar if you were Ross Edgley, but having guests on that aren't necessarily to do with the CrossFit world. As some of you know, I homeschool my kids. I've got a 7 and 6-year-old that I homeschool, and I'm really interested in getting one of the ladies on that we speak to about homeschooling, about education, and about that kind of thing. I'm thinking of maybe getting her on at some point. She's a great lady. She's got a lot of education behind her, and I kind of want to talk about that as part of kind of what goes on in my life aside from CrossFit. Maybe not yet, because I think the whole point of this show is to do with CrossFit. But at some point, I want to start talking about things that I'm interested in outside of CrossFit. Not that there are many. It's usually to do with the kids. So there we go. But my final thought for the day is talked about obviously competition quite a lot. My kid, because we homeschool, we do a lot of activity in the day, and we take them to clubs and sports clubs in the evenings to mix with obviously the other kids, so they're not completely disconnected. And two things really. One, they do CrossFit once or twice a week. They have been doing it. They've been born and raised in CrossFit gyms. One thing that has become very, very clear is their understanding of how to use their body, how to move it, the proprioception skills, I don't want to say athleticism because I don't know if anyone saw the Power Athlete post from yesterday. But their physical ability, their physical preparedness is at a far higher standard than the other kids. Now, the other kids might perform better in terms of like athletics, for example. I took them to athletics the other day. They did 100, a 200, a 600, and a shot put. And although my boy won the standing jump, because he's only 6, they do the standing instead of run and jump. He won that. That neither of them won any of their events, but they were top 3 in all of them, which is sort of developing that GPP, that standardized, that CrossFit sort of base already at the age of 7 and 6. It's becoming very clear that they have this higher threshold for competency across broad modes already. Becoming clear to me. Now, I've seen this with kids at the gyms that I've had and in the kids' classes, and I've had feedback from it. But when you see it personally in your kids, it's completely backing up this idea that I have and my wife, where this thing is our day-to-day Bible for the kids about movement, for education, for science, for purpose. Jiu-jitsu as well this week. They're both doing a tournament in July in Liverpool, so we're getting the boat across to Liverpool. I think it's 28th of July. But they're doing their first jiu-jitsu tournament. And at jiu-jitsu, although they piss around quite a little bit because it's jiu-jitsu, their ability to learn, to watch, to learn, and to apply what they've kind of been taught, it's very impressive, and that's with all kids. However, what they've learned with Erin at the CrossFit Kids classes and previously with our kids classes when they're a bit younger, the movement patterns, the emphasis on how to move and why they're moving the way they are, where the power's coming from, core to extremity, limb movement, dynamic movement, explosivity, all of it comes into play now when we're applying that to these sports and these physical pursuits. And it's beautiful to see. And it's just confirming with me what we already knew, is that our methodology works, and getting kids involved in it is one of the most productive things you can do if you have children, is to get them doing CrossFit classes. without a doubt. It will bleed into everything else that they do. Gracie Baja. It was. My kids don't go to that gym, but there was one on the island. Roger Gracie actually came to the island last month, I think, and did a seminar here. So that was cool. But no, my kids don't go to that. They go to another jiu-jitsu run by a guy called Miles, who's just fucking... They worship the ground he walks on. He's insanely talented. He's very, very good himself, but also his mannerisms and the way that he is coaching kids is... I can't coach kids at all in groups the way that they do. It's so good. And you wouldn't want your kids around anyone else except them to learn that kind of thing. The way that they keep discipline and order in those people, it's so admirable. I just sit on the mat, stretching, watching, and I take away a lot from it for my own coaching development. Ex-primary deputy head, and I think we don't push enough focus. Yeah, I'm totally with you there. I think the rollout for movement for kids is something that we as affiliates can be part of, which is what part of what Hannah and the guys do with the academy program. Getting these kids moving, understanding that they can excel, they can be accountable, they can learn, they can feel good, they can feel valuable and hold value in what we do. But the actual movement itself is so important. Learning about how to move and why we're moving the way that we do. It's the education piece. So a teacher like yourself, Josh, would obviously understand that already. Yeah, good. Right, I need to go. I've got a coach in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So I've just got to pop on to kind of put a shift in on my own. This is the first time I've gone live on my own, actually. Didn't think of that. So on this channel. Jon and I have got a show on our other channel later on this evening. We've got Keeping It Real coming on, and Jeremy, because we've got head-to-head happening later in the middle of the week. But that'll be me later on today. Like I said earlier, tomorrow, thank you, Rambler. Thank you for joining me. And you, Josh, thank you very much for your comments. I've got Marcus from Go Ruck on tomorrow at 11 a.m. GMT. We've got Julia and Jess on from Coach's Ed at 9 a.m. on Wednesday GMT. Then I'll be traveling to the French. And now I'm hoping that I've got the connection speed when I'm over there to be able to go live from the French and do a show over there, maybe patch in and speak to Sevi or whoever's on. But yeah, linking up with Pedro when we're over there as well, because he's going to be over as well. So, and then I'm coming back and I've got a couple of shows lined up for the week after. But thank you for joining me this morning, guys. I hope you have a lovely Sunday. Enjoy yourselves. Go and move. Get out of the gym. If you want a workout to do outside of the gym, if your gym's shut or if you don't fancy going there, or if you used all your sessions for the week, get a ruck, fill it up with some weight, and go for a ruck out in the lovely weather today. Anyway, I shall see you next time. Bye for now.